Jason lived on a small space station near the outer rim of Earth's trading zone. He liked quiet, he liked peace. He didn't talk much to others, and he enjoyed reading old books alone in his room. Life was simple, and that's how he liked it. But one day, everything changed. He got a message from station management. It said a refugee from the outer colonies needed temporary housing. Her name was Vera, and she was not human. The message said she had passed all security checks and needed shelter for a few weeks. Jason didn't want a roommate, especially not an alien, but something inside him said yes. Maybe it was loneliness, maybe it was curiosity. He agreed when he opened the door to let her in. He froze. Vera was tall, much taller than Jason. Her skin was a soft violet color, glowing slightly under the dim hallway lights. Her eyes were large and silver, with no pupils. She wore a long coat that looked like it was made from woven light. She bowed politely and said, "Thank you, human. I will not cause trouble." Jason just nodded and stepped aside, letting her in. The first few days were strange. She didn't talk much, but she was clean, quiet, and respectful. She never entered his room, never touched his things, and cooked her own meals from a small black box she carried with her. Her food smelled like burning flowers. They didn't speak much, only exchanged polite words. Jason noticed she never slept. Instead, she sat cross-legged in the living room with her eyes half closed, glowing softly like a lantern. One night, after a long shift fixing maintenance panels in the docking bay, Jason came home covered in dust and sweat. He needed a shower badly. He undressed, tossed his clothes in the cleaner unit, and walked into the bathroom. The hot water relaxed him. The walls were foggy with steam, and he felt calm. Like nothing in the galaxy could bother him. He stepped out of the shower, grabbed a towel, and walked into the hallway, forgetting that he had a roommate now. And that's when it happened. Vera was standing right there, in front of the kitchen, holding her black food box. Her silver eyes met his and widened in shock. Jason froze, towel in hand, completely naked. "Oh no," he said quickly. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were." But Vera didn't move. She just stared. Her skin suddenly shimmered, turning from violet to deep red, glowing with strange light. Her hands trembled slightly, and the black food box fell from her grasp, clattering to the floor. Then, without saying a word, she turned and rushed back to her room, closing the door behind her with a soft but final click. Jason stood there, wet and confused. His heart pounded, and embarrassment crawled up his spine. "Great," he muttered. "I just scared an alien roommate with my human bits." He wrapped the towel tighter and walked slowly to his room. His thoughts raced. Why did she react like that? Was it anger? Fear? Disgust? But something about her face. It didn't look like fear. It looked like pain. Later that night, he knocked on her door, softly. "Vera? I'm really sorry. It was an accident. I wasn't thinking." No answer. He waited, then finally walked away. But inside her room, Vera sat against the wall, her eyes wide and glowing. Her hands clutched her chest, and she whispered in her native language. It started. Oh no, it started. Her body trembled, strange patterns appearing across her arms like glowing tattoos. The bonding reaction had begun, and Jason had no idea what he had just triggered. Jason didn't sleep well that night. He kept tossing and turning, thinking about what had happened. His mind kept replaying the moment Vera saw him naked, her glowing skin, her wide silver eyes, the strange red shimmer that spread across her body. It wasn't normal, even for an alien. The next morning, he made coffee and left a warm mug outside her door. A peace offering, maybe. But the door didn't open, not even a thank you. By noon, Jason got worried. He hadn't heard a single sound from her room. He walked up and knocked gently. "Vera? Are you okay?" he asked. Still no answer. He pressed his ear to the door. Silence, then barely a low groan, like someone was in pain. Jason's heart jumped. He didn't care about rules anymore. He opened the door. The room was dim, curtains pulled tight. The air smelled strange, like burning metal and flowers. Vera lay on the floor, curled up, her arms glowing with swirling red lines that pulsed like veins. Her skin was wet with sweat, and her breath came in fast, shallow gasps. "Vera!" Jason rushed to her side. "What's happening? Are you sick?" Her hand reached out weakly and grabbed his wrist. "Don't call station medics," she whispered. "They'll take me away." Jason frowned. "What? Why would they? It's my fault," she said, barely above a whisper. I saw you." "And now it started," Jason blinked. "Started? What started?" She didn't answer. Her eyes rolled back, and her body convulsed with sudden energy, the red patterns on her skin flared brightly. For a moment, Jason thought she might explode. Her body radiated heat like a furnace. And then it stopped. Vera collapsed again, still breathing but barely conscious. Jason quickly grabbed a blanket and wrapped her gently. He didn't know what else to do. Should he call someone? The medics? The alien embassy? But she had begged him not to. He stayed beside her the whole day, wiping her forehead, holding her hand, speaking softly even when she didn't respond. Something was happening to her, and somehow it was his fault. That night, Vera finally opened her eyes again. She looked weak but calm. Her voice was soft as she spoke. "I need to explain," Jason nodded. "Please do, because I don't understand anything right now." She sat up slowly, still wrapped in the blanket. Her eyes stared into his, serious and glowing. "My species, we don't form bonds like humans do. We don't date or marry the same way. We bond once, forever." Jason's brow furrowed. "Okay. When one of us sees someone fully uncovered, and if our instincts find them compatible, it triggers something ancient, a reaction in the body," she said. "It's called the merging phase." Jason blinked. "Merging? You mean like mating?" "No," she said, shaking her head gently. "It's deeper than that. It's physical, emotional, even spiritual. My body thinks we are now linked, bonded. It can't be stopped now." Jason leaned back, stunned. "So just because you saw me naked, this is happening to you?" "Yes," she said. "It wasn't your fault. You didn't know. But now, the process has started." Jason looked down at his hands. "So what does that mean? For you? For me?" "It means my body will continue to change," she said. "I'll become more attuned to your energy. I'll feel your emotions. Your thoughts may even bleed into mine. And if the bond completes fully, we'll be linked for life." Jason stared, silent for a moment. "And if it doesn't complete," her face darkened, "then I might die." The room fell quiet. Jason didn't know what to say. He hadn't asked for this. He didn't want anyone's life to be tied to his. But here she was, an alien girl far from home, trembling in his small room because of something he didn't even mean to do. He took a deep breath and said, "So what can I do to help?" Vera looked surprised. Her voice was soft. You would help me? Even now?" "I didn't mean to start this," Jason said, "but I won't let you suffer for it. Tell me what to do." Vera reached out and placed her hand gently over his heart. Her fingers were warm. "Stay close," she said. "That's all I need right now. Just don't leave me alone." Jason nodded slowly. Neither of them knew what would happen next. But one thing was clear. This wasn't just a roommate situation anymore. It was something much deeper and far more dangerous. The lights in Jason's room flickered gently as Vera lay curled under the blanket. Her breathing had returned to normal, but her glowing skin still pulsed softly with every heartbeat. Jason sat beside her, alert but calm, watching her closely. He had never felt this kind of quiet tension before, like being trapped in a moment that could change everything. She opened her eyes, silver and soft, and said, "I have to tell you something I was never supposed to share." Jason leaned in. "I'm listening." Vera took a slow breath, as if the words were heavy. "In my culture, only bonded pairs know this truth," she said. "The reaction I had when I saw you, it's more than instinct." Jason waited, saying nothing. My people are born with dormant memory patterns, she continued. These memories don't belong to us. They belong to our ancestors, generations before us. Jason blinked. Wait. You mean you carry ancient memories? Vera nodded. When we see a potential partner, someone who truly aligns with our spirit, those memories awaken. They rush in, flooding our bodies with heat and light. That's what you saw. That's what I couldn't control. Jason rubbed his forehead, trying to understand. So, you saw me, and your ancestors' memories lit up like fireworks? Exactly, Vera said quietly. I didn't just see you, I recognized you. As if my people already knew you. It's not about the body, it's about the energy, the pattern. The feeling of home. Jason didn't know what to say. He had never heard anything like this before. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. So, that explains the glowing? The collapse? The bond? She nodded slowly. Yes, my body thinks I found the one I'm supposed to connect with for life, but humans. You don't work like that. You choose your partners, we don't. Jason felt a strange chill crawl up his neck. So what happens now? Vera looked away, her voice suddenly softer. Now. My mind will try to adapt to you. I'll start feeling what you feel. I might even hear echoes of your thoughts, if I resist it. It will tear me apart from the inside. Jason's mouth opened slightly. That sounds like torture. It can be, she admitted. But it doesn't have to be. If the bond is accepted, both minds align gently. Like rivers joining. No pain, only peace. Jason stood and walked slowly across the room, trying to think. But I never asked for this. He said, and you didn't choose it either. No, Vera said. That's the cruel part. Our biology makes the choice for us. I saw you, your form, your presence, and something ancient woke up inside me. Jason turned back to her. So why keep it a secret? Why not tell people this happens? She looked down at her glowing hands. Because not all species understand us. Some see it as dangerous, others as weak. If word got out, they might use it against us, force bonds, create slaves. Or worse. Jason swallowed hard, now realizing the weight of her words. That's why you didn't want the medics involved, she nodded. They'd report it, and I'd be taken away, maybe studied, maybe imprisoned. I don't know, Jason walked back and sat down beside her again. I won't let that happen. Vera turned to look at him, surprised. Even if it means you'll be connected to me forever? Jason sighed. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I'm ready, but I do know this. I won't let you face it alone. Her lips trembled slightly, and she reached out, placing her hand gently on his shoulder. Then the bond will grow softer, not violent, she whispered. You've already eased my pain. Do you feel anything? Yet? Jason paused. He was about to say no, but then stopped. His chest felt warmer, his heartbeat slower than usual, and for a brief second, he felt her inside. Not physically, but emotionally. A quiet hum of sadness mixed with hope, a whisper of her fear, and the deep, aching need not to be alone anymore. I think I do, he said slowly. Just a little, Vera smiled, her silver eyes soft like moonlight. Then we still have time, Jason nodded. Then let's use it wisely. Outside, the stars moved silently past the window, cold and distant. But inside, two strangers sat close, connected by something ancient, strange, and unspoken, and their journey was just beginning. For the next few days, Jason and Vera lived in silence, but not the cold kind. It was a warm silence, filled with quiet glances, small shared smiles, and soft breathing in the same space. The bond between them was growing stronger, gently pulsing like an invisible thread connecting their hearts. Jason began to feel things that weren't his emotions, that bubbled up without reason. Moments of sadness, flashes of memories that weren't his own. He didn't fight them. He just let them flow. Vera, on the other hand, looked healthier. Her glow was stable now. Her skin no longer pulsed with pain. Instead, she moved with peace. Her voice was calmer, and her laugh, a rare sound, was soft. and beautiful, but peace never lasts long in space. It started with a knock on the door. Jason opened it, expecting a neighbor or package drone, but outside stood two tall officials in black uniforms, their eyes sharp, their skin pale gray. Both carried energy rifles on their backs and a scanner in hand. Jason Wells? One of them asked. Yes, and replied, confused. We're from the Interspecies Bond Regulation Unit, the officer said. We've received a bio-reading spike from your unit, involving a Class V fusion signal. Jason's heart sank. I don't know what you're talking about, he lied, trying to stay calm. The second officer stepped forward. We have legal rights to enter and verify. Before Jason could respond, a quiet voice came from behind him. Let them in. It was Vera. She stepped into view, her posture straight, but her hands trembling slightly at her sides. Her glow was faint but steady. You're not hiding, are you? The first officer asked coldly. No, Vera said, but I ask for mercy. The officers scanned her quickly, and their scanner beeped with a sharp tone. Confirmed, one said. Her system has entered the fusion process. Class V intensity. Jason stepped in front of her. His voice low but steady. She didn't break any law. It was an accident. She didn't choose it. The officer looked at him. That doesn't matter. A fusion this deep requires registration, relocation, and review by the council. No. Vera said firmly. Please, I can't be taken, this bond. It saved me. You'll break me if you separate us. Jason raised a hand. Wait, can't we appeal? Talk to someone with sense? The second officer pulled out a glowing tag. You have 12 hours to report to the Interspecies Council aboard the Centris Moon Station. If you don't show, we'll come back with extraction clearance. Without waiting for a reply, the officers left. The door hissed closed behind them. Leaving silence in their wake, Vera collapsed into the nearest chair. Her face pale. They'll separate us. They'll try to reset me, but it doesn't work. No one has survived it. Jason walked over and knelt beside her. Then we won't let that happen. We'll go to that council, and we'll explain everything. She shook her head slowly. They don't care about stories. They care about control, about rules. Jason's voice hardened. Then I'll make them listen. You're not a threat. You didn't hurt anyone. They can't punish you for surviving. That night, they prepared to leave. Vera packed her glowing food box. Jason gathered identification and documents. They boarded the late shuttle to Centris. Moon station silent, silver, and floating through the stars like a ghost. As they sat together, their hands touched lightly. And Vera looked at him with eyes full of fear. If they separate us, she whispered. I won't come back. Jason squeezed her hand gently. Then I'll make sure they don't. Neither of them knew what would happen on Centris, but one thing was clear. They were no longer just a man and his alien roommate. They were two souls locked in something rare, something fragile, and now something threatened. The universe was watching, and soon it would judge. The Centris moon station floated like a giant silver wheel above the shadowed planet below. It was cold, clinical, and full of officials who didn't smile. Jason and Vera stood at the entrance to the Interspecies Council chamber, waiting to be called inside. Vera's hands were cold. Her glow had dimmed, not from sickness, but from fear. Inside her, the fusion process was reaching its next stage. Jason could feel it too, not in his body, but in his thoughts. He kept hearing soft whispers. When she looked at him, he would feel sudden emotion that didn't come from him, sadness, longing, or even flashes of distant memories. Fields of glowing plants, the taste of her childhood drink, the sound of her mother's voice. Their connection was growing, becoming something deeper than words or sight. Jason, she said quietly, if they force us apart now, I won't survive this phase. Jason turned to her, serious and calm. Then I'll stop them, even if I have to break the rules. Just then, the doors slid open. Jason Wells and Vera of Relok Prime. Enter, a voice called from within. The Council chamber was huge, with rows of alien delegates sitting behind long desks. Different shapes, different species, all watching, all judging. Jason and Vera stood in the center circle. A spotlight above them, the lead official, a tall insectoid creature with glass-like wings, spoke. "You have entered a Class V fusion. Without permit, explain yourselves." Jason stepped forward. "It wasn't intentional. She saw me by accident." "It triggered something biological in her species," Vera added softly. "I didn't choose this, but I cannot stop it either if I'm separated from him now." "I will die," the room murmured. Some faces turned away in disgust, others in curiosity. An elder alien leaned forward. "Do you claim this bond is genuine? Not manipulated or artificial?" Jason nodded. "Yes, but more than that, it's real. I feel her pain, her thoughts. I see her memories. I didn't ask for it. But it happened, and now we live with it." The insectoid leader tapped his long fingers together. "If what you say is true, then the fusion process is about to reach the final stage." Vera gasped and clutched Jason's arm suddenly. Her body arched forward, eyes wide with glowing light. Her skin shimmered with pulses of energy. "It's starting now," she whispered. "Jason, I can't stop it." Jason held her tightly. "I've got you. I'm not letting go." She collapsed into his arms, her entire body glowing like fire trapped in glass. Patterns ran across her skin, glowing faster and faster. Her heart beat in sync with Jason's. Could feel it. Then it happened. A blast of soft light erupted from her chest, and Jason felt his mind stretch like someone opening a door inside his soul. He saw her whole life in a flash, her fears, her dreams, her loneliness drifting between stars. And in that same moment, Vera saw him too, his losses, his quiet nights alone, the pain he never spoke of, the deep kindness he tried to hide. They were no longer two people. They were one bond, one memory, one rhythm. The light faded, and Vera lay still in his arms, glowing softly but peacefully. Her eyes fluttered open. "It's done," she whispered. "The fusion is complete." The council chamber was silent. Jason looked around, still holding her gently. "Now, what happens to us?" The lead official spoke, slower this time. "Never has a bond completed inside this hall." Under watch of council eyes, another delegate spoke. "Perhaps the bond was not a threat, but a lesson." An old reptilian judge leaned forward. "We must review, but this moment may change how we understand your kind and ours." Jason held Vera closer, his voice steady. "She is not a danger. She is a miracle." Vera smiled faintly, her hand resting on his heart. "So are you." They were no longer strangers, no longer separate. The fusion had begun long before that day. This was simply the moment. The universe finally noticed. Asterisk. The chamber remained silent for a long time after the fusion light faded. Jason stood there, holding Vera. Her breathing was calm, her body steady, but her skin still glowed like soft moonlight. It was done. The final stage of fusion had passed, and she had survived, but now they were waiting for judgment from the highest authority in the sector. The insectoid leader finally rose, his translucent wings trembling. "This event is unlike anything recorded in our interspecies history," he said. "A human and a relic forming a full soul bond. Without ritual, without intent." Another council member, a long-necked alien with pale scales, added, "Our laws do not cover such cases. Fusion without consent is forbidden, yet neither of you chose this." Jason stood taller, his voice steady. "You're right. We didn't choose this, but we didn't run from it either. We accepted it. We lived through it." Vera stepped forward, her voice quiet but clear. "My people warned me that humans were cold, logical, unable to understand connection without control. But this human stayed, even when he had every reason to walk away." The elder reptilian counselor leaned forward, his eyes narrow but thoughtful. "You believe this bond is a path forward, not a danger?" Vera nodded. Yes, I do. What happened between us is natural, rare, but real. If you punish it, you punish nature itself, Jason added. And you'll be teaching others that love between species, even when accidental, is something to fear. Murmurs rose across the chamber. Some nodded, others still looked uncertain. Then a soft chime rang from the council floor. A new figure appeared, tall, cloaked, with a glowing crest on her head. She was a Rilak elder, one of Vera's kind. Her voice was like wind over ice. I speak for the ancient bloodlines, she said. I have seen her pattern. And it is true. Everyone turned to face her. She has completed the fusion, not just with body, but with memory. She holds his pain and joy as her own, and he holds hers. Jason looked at the elder. Then you support us? She nodded slowly. I do, but this is not only about you. It is about what your bond represents. A future where fusion may not need permission from old rules, but understanding from open hearts. The council leader stepped forward again, holding a silver disc. We have reached a temporary decision, he said. Jason Wells and Vera of Relok Prime shall be granted protected status. Jason blinked. Protected? You may remain together under observation, the leader continued. You will not be separated, but your bond will be studied, not to harm, but to learn. This is not punishment, it is trust. On trial, Vera's shoulders eased with relief. We accept, she whispered. Jason looked at her, then nodded. We'll show you that the bond is not a danger, but a gift. The council chambers buzzed with energy, not anger, but curiosity. The moment had shifted, a rule had been bent, not broken, and the stars had watched it happen. Later that night, back aboard the shuttle, Jason and Vera sat quietly in the rear cabin. No more glowing lights, no more alarms, just peace. She rested her head on his shoulder, her voice soft. Do you think we changed anything? Jason smiled slightly. Maybe not everything, but we gave them a new question to ask, Vera chuckled softly. And maybe a new answer to consider. Their bond, once an accident, was now a symbol of something that couldn't be explained by science or stopped by rules. Something deeper, something rare, and something truly human. Weeks had passed since the council hearing. Jason and Vera were no longer hiding, no longer waiting for someone to take her away. They lived together again, back on the station where it all began. But everything had changed. The tiny apartment was still the same walls, same lights, same table. But now it felt warmer, alive. Not because of furniture or decorations, but because of them. Vera moved with quiet grace, no longer sick, no longer afraid. Her eyes still glowed silver, but now they sparkled with peace. Jason noticed the change in himself too. He didn't feel alone anymore. Not even in silence. They weren't just roommates now. They were bonded. One morning, Jason woke up and found Vera sitting on the couch, staring out the window at the stars. She was holding something, a folded blanket, the same one he had wrapped around her when she collapsed weeks ago. I used to think I was broken, she said quietly. My people told me fusion was sacred, rare, dangerous if done wrong. I believed it was a curse. Until you. Jason walked over, sat beside her and said, and I used to think I'd live alone forever. Never felt like I belonged to anyone, anywhere until you. She smiled. Strange how one moment can change everything. He nodded. A moment I didn't plan. And you didn't want. But we chose what came after, she whispered. Since the council's decision, their story had spread quietly. Scholars asked for interviews, doctors requested tests, but Jason and Vera agreed only to share what they were comfortable with. They didn't want to be studied like lab samples. They wanted to live like people. The Interspecies Council created a new policy because of them, the Wells-Vera Accord, which protected fusion cases that formed naturally, without control or abuse. It was the beginning of something bigger. But Jason didn't care about politics. He cared about how Vera hummed softly when she cooked, how she would tilt her head when confused by human jokes. How her fingers twitched when she dreamed. Vera, on the other hand, loved how Jason always offered her the last piece of food, how he spoke gently even when he was tired, how he never treated her like something strange. One day, while organizing supplies, Jason found a small metal container with alien markings. He opened it, and a soft tune began to play, unfamiliar yet comforting. Vera walked over and smiled. "That's a bonding song from my world," she said. "It's played at ceremonies. When two souls accept each other." Jason listened for a while, then looked at her. "Then play it again," he said. "We never had a real ceremony." She pressed the button, and the melody started again, soft and shimmering like water falling. Through stars, they didn't dress up, didn't invite guests. They just stood there, facing each other in their tiny kitchen. Vera touched Jason's chest, over his heart. "You were the unexpected one," she said. "But now, you're everything." Jason held her hands. "You were a stranger from the stars," he whispered. "Now you're my home." Outside, the station lights flickered softly. Ships came and went, worlds turned. But inside that little room, a human and an alien stood quietly, breathing the same air, sharing the same warmth. Joined not by rules or blood, but by a bond that no one had seen coming. They weren't lovers by tradition. They weren't family by blood. They weren't even the same species. But they belonged to each other, not as roommates, but as something more, something no law had defined yet, something not even the stars could fully understand.